when you say, well, I'll repeat the question first. She said, I come from New York. My first time here, I love the arti. I feel so connected to God. How do I hold on to that connection when I go back? Let me ask you something. Which part of you loved the arti? Which part of you feels so connected? My heart. Okay. Is that heart going back with you? Okay. Now, that may seem really obvious, and yet we overlook it. When most of us go on holiday, we get a tan, we relax a little bit, because it's the outer circumstance. Obviously, it's easy to be relaxed if you're sitting on a beach, swimming, reading, lying in the sun. Anybody can be relaxed there. We go back, and as our tan fades, so does our relaxation. But when you've actually had something touch your heart, you take it back. If on that beach you fell in love, real love, not fell in lust, but fell in love, with the heart, would you still be in love when you got off the plane in New York? Would you still be in love a few days later? If it was real love, you'd be in love forever. So when our heart has been touched, it goes back with us. But we've been so habituated to the vacation model that it's like we go on vacation, we feel so relaxed, we go back, we're so stressed, and we think, how do I hold on? But what you've been touched by and where you've been touched is something that's so much deeper than just an externally affected relaxation. So if your heart has been touched, then all you have to do is stay connected to your heart. Which again sounds more obvious than perhaps it is. Because when most of us go back into that world, regardless of whether it's Delhi or New York, we tend not to stay so connected to our heart. What feels so good here is that we are living in our hearts. That's what feels so good. If you were sitting here with your mind in 1,000 places, it wouldn't feel so good here anyway. You could still be here on the banks of Ganga, in the Arti, in this divine place. But if your mind was somewhere else and you were living in that mind somewhere else, you wouldn't have this experience. So the experience is contingent upon the heart being open and your consciousness being in your heart. And that's the answer. Wherever we are, if our awareness and our consciousness is in our heart, life is beautiful. Because in every moment, even when there's pain, we're all going to experience pain, we all experience loss, we all experience difficulty. But if we can stay in our hearts, there's beauty in all of that. But what most of us do is we shut down our hearts. We live in what we call the mind instead. I've got so much to do. Even we're in front of our loved ones, we're not there. We're separate from them, we miss them, oh, I love you on the phone, oh, I love you so much. They're in front of us, we're not there. Our mind's someplace else. We're paying attention to something else. Our children are standing in front of us. Mom, Mom. But we're somewhere else. Then they grow up and we think, oh, how fast it happened. You missed it. so we miss the opportunity in our lives. And what happens when you come here, first of all, because it is vacation, there isn't the list, there isn't the stress, so it's easier to be in the heart. But your heart goes back with you. And if when you go back, you make a concerted effort, doesn't mean you don't get busy, doesn't mean you don't do things, but to stay so present with each moment. In every moment your heart is there. In every moment you're operating from the heart. Your only question in every moment should be, if my heart were open, what would I do? When we have all of these dilemmas and forks in our road and, what should I do? If we ask ourselves, if my heart were really open, what would I do? The answer's there. Most of us make the mistake when we say my head versus my heart. The heart, when we talk about it like that, is much more my impulse. And that's not what we mean. The impulse is not the heart. The impulse is just a less matured part of the brain. It feels like the heart, but the impulse is not the heart. The heart is very wise, very deep, much wiser, much deeper than the brain. So when we say, well, my brain says this, but my heart says that, most of us just mean, I know that's the right thing to do, but my impulse is over here, or my lust is over here, or my desire is over there. That's not really the heart. But if we really connect to that heart that loved the arti, the heart that is connected to God sitting here, and can stay connected to that in every moment, then you will take this arti home with you. And more than that, whatever you do will become arti. And you will share that with others. You will bring light to others. They will feel love in your presence. Because when we're really connected to our hearts, it's so difficult to contain. It's like we love everything and everyone. Think about it. When you really fall in love, what happens? We're nice to everyone. Right? I mean, it's not limited just to the person you fell in love with. Suddenly, we're helping old people across the street. We're leaving, 80% tips. We're nice to everyone. We're letting people pass us on the freeway. No problem. Ajo, mera samne aajo, no problem. Letting everybody cut in line because we're in love. In that moment, before who's going to do the dishes becomes the question, before whose turn is it to go grocery shopping becomes the question. In those days where it's just love, we're living so connected to our hearts that everything is blissful. We don't eat, we don't sleep, it doesn't matter. And when that love is love for God, then it's even fuller and even deeper. And so if you carry that back and live with that all the time, you will have it, and everyone around you will have it.